Last time on Absolute Carnage right here at Comicstorian. Eddie battled against Null, the god of the symbiotes, who was defeated, but his symbiote, known as Grendel, reached out and revived the dead body of Cletus Cassidy, turning Carnage into the ultimate symbiote. Carnage then went around reaching out to find the codexes of anyone who has held a symbiote. You see, anybody who has a symbiote has a little piece of the symbiote still in their spine. And Carnage realized that if he can collect all of the codexes that are left behind in the spines, he can become the ultimate symbiote. He finally showed himself to Venom, who then reached out to Spider-Man to find a way to stop Carnage, and the two of them have been battling against Carnage for the last couple of chapters of this storyline. They found an individual known as the Maker, which is an evil Reed Richards from an alternate universe, and the Maker has a way to extract codexes from important individuals in the storyline who we don't want to have die to Carnage. So Eddie went out to find all the lowlifes and the villains of the Marvel Universe, while Spider-Man went out to find all of the superheroes. Eddie found himself coming across Mac Gargan, aka Scorpion, who had the Venom symbiote for a short while. And Miles Morales, the young Spider-Man, was there to try and save Mac Gargan. But Venom lost him. He lost the younger Spider-Man. And that is where we left off. The entire playlist is down below if you want to see all the side stories and the main stories involved in Absolute Carnage. But if you're wondering where you are, this is the Comicstorian channel, where we take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues. We break down the movies, the TV shows, and the video games, and we tell you the storylines and lore within as an audio drama. I hope you guys enjoy, and if you do, consider subscribing. But today, we're going to be bringing you Absolute Carnage number 3. Eddie lost him, the younger Spider-Man. Miles Morales, now taken over by the strange offshoots of Carnage, crawls towards him, his claws clutched at Eddie's throat as his wicked jaws open in a hideous grin. "I'm sorry, kid," Venom gasps. "I know this ain't your fault." Venom lashes out, wrapping his hands around Miles' throat. He twists, using the strength of a symbiote to throw the creature away. "We've had enough," he snarls. Eddie can hear Venom in his mind, telling him to kill the Carnage spawn while they have the chance, but Eddie refuses, telling Venom to calm down. Their conversation is interrupted, though, as a familiar voice calls out for help. "Eddie, help me, man! You gotta help me!" Mac calls out as the spawns begin to overwhelm him. But another voice calls out, and that one is Norman Osborn, himself bonded with one of the Carnage spawns behind him. "Is Daddy scared?" He cackles, lifting a truck over his head. After Norman Osborn's battle with Spider-Man in the Carnage suit, he now thinks that he is Cletus Cassidy and thinks that he is actually Carnage. Eddie turns, trying to reason with the psychopath. "We don't want to hurt you, Norman. We're trying to help you, trying to fix your grandson, Normie. We can help you too." Eddie tries to explain as Venom shifts over his face once more. For a brief moment, recollection suddenly appears on Norman's face and the symbiote drops away. "What did you say about Normie?" "Now, Eddie! Kill him now!" Venom screams in Brock's head. The symbiote suddenly begins to pulse and it reaches out from Eddie's chest. "No! What are you doing?" he questions. "He is weak, vulnerable. We will kill him." Eddie hears it snarling in his head. He tries to stop Venom. He tries to tell it to listen to him. "No, not anymore." Venom lashes out, its form becoming a blade that pierces Norman's chest and throws him away. Shock fills Eddie's voice as Venom returns to him. "You stabbed him in the heart," he whispers. "Someone had to," the creature replies. The two are interrupted again as Mac Gargan calls out to Eddie again, the Carnage swarm still forming around him. Eddie stands, beginning to move towards Scorpion, but Venom quickly detaches itself from him, standing over the fallen Norman. "We have to help Mac," Eddie yells, looking over his shoulder in surprise at the alien that is now leaving him. "No," Venom tells him, looking down at their stunned enemy. "We have to finish this. We have to kill him and take the codex before my spawn can repair him." "Do it then. I'm gonna go help Mac. I'm gonna save the only person that I can. Your call," Eddie yells to Venom, rain pounding on them from above. For a brief moment, it seems as if Venom didn't hear him at all. Suddenly, the alien lets out a bestial roar, sliding across the wet cement to merge with Eddie once more. "Fine," it hisses in his ear, "but don't be mad at me when we lose." Venom comes in, charging, his fist knocking the Carnage spawns away. In their minds, they continue to argue as another backhand knocks Scorpion clear of the monsters. Venom can no longer allow their spawn to kill, regardless of what Eddie thinks. Venom reaches down, picking up Gargan and swinging away. "Understand this! If you're not going to be strong enough to stop this, I will find someone who is." Quickly, the pair make their way back to the safe house where he left Dylan, Normie, and the Maker. With a thud, Venom lands outside of the warehouse, rain still pouring down on their heads. Mac Gargan struggling slightly in his arms. I need a hospital, man! Where are we? He questions. I'll take you to the hospital, and you go to prison, Venom tells him. But the villain just slumps in his arms, telling Eddie that he can't even feel his legs. Shut up! I got a guy in here that'll take care of you, he tells him, opening the door. The pair are greeted by a group of heroes. Wolverine, Captain America, The Thing, and Spider-Man all turn to see Eddie. Hey! Spider-Man waves. Quickly, the wall crawler explains that the heroes know that it wasn't Eddie at Rikers Island. That's right, Brock. You can relax, Captain America tells him. The cavalry is here. Brock takes Cap's outstretched hand and gives him a firm shake. He tells them that Mac's spine is broken and he needs medical attention. Is the Maker here? He asks, but Ben Grimm merely smirks and cracks his knuckles, rocks popping loudly in the enclosed space. Yo, Little Reed? Nah, that little guy ran away before I could give him a proper Yancey Street welcome. From behind them, Bruce Banner suddenly crosses the room, checking a few of his notes. I disdain the use of a child as a test subject, but his science is sound. The machine works. Normie Osborn is completely free of the symbiote codex. Eddie steps forward, thanking the man. Bruce Banner, we've actually met a few times. We both looked a bit different, though. Eddie suddenly looks shocked, asking if Venom ever infected Bruce Banner. Surprisingly, no. The Hulk has never worn the symbiote, Bruce assures him. Eddie turns, finally seeing Dylan staring at him. Hey, buddy. He pulls him in for an embrace. Quickly, Dylan fills him in as to what happened, and finally motions to the strangely colored cat at his feet. His name's Sleeper. Hello, Eddie. It is good to see you again, the cat says, blinking its 4 eyes. Eddie just nods at the symbiote, thanking him for saving his son. Spider-Man finally comes up, letting Eddie know that it is time, and that they need to get everyone into the machine. Eddie is shocked, though, when Peter tells him that he won't be going into the machine. What? Eddie hisses as the other heroes stand and watch, but Peter tells him that this was all his fault. I brought the first symbiote here to Earth. If I hadn't, we wouldn't even be in this mess. Tell him that our kind has been here since the Dark Ages, Eddie. Since the time of Beowulf and Grendel. Tell him he doesn't have to carry this burden. Venom whispers in his ear, but Eddie only nods. Yeah, you're right. You're going in last. Finally, he turns to the heroes and he claps his hands. All right, who's first? The rain continues to pelt from outside the room with lightning flashing, bringing the sound of close thunder. Hours pass and Spider-Man enters the chamber to discover Eddie standing over the machine that Captain America is currently sitting in. You okay? Pete asks him. But Eddie just nods, and Peter asks him if he's nervous about how they have to face this new dark Carnage. We'll be okay, Eddie tells him, his finger tracing along the glass in the machine. You're gonna tell Dylan before we go to war, right? Peter asks him. But Eddie just continues tracing along the glass, his finger pressing harder and scratching into it. Tell him what? That you're his father. Suddenly, a shout erupts from the back of the room and Eddie comes charging in. Peter! Get the hell away from him, he shouts. The fake Eddie begins to laugh and turn as the Carnage symbiote swirls around him. The image of Eddie shifts and morphs, and for a brief moment, it reveals the skeleton beneath. But that moment is gone, and the visage of Cletus Cassidy now stands before them. Bruce, can he break the containment pods? Peter asks as the three men back away. I don't think so, Bruce tells him. Let's not find out, Eddie nods. Finally, the monstrous form of Carnage stands tall and the roof shatters above him as his spawn crawl into the building. Peter yells for Eddie to find Dylan and Normie, but Venom suddenly screams in his ear. No more running! We finished this! It snarls as it morphs and shifts onto Eddie. What's the matter, Daddy? Performance anxiety? Carnage laughs. Venom suddenly lashes away from Eddie, its visage taking on the form of a monstrous face with open jaws. We told you, Eddie. It snarls as the jaws now engulf Bruce Banner. If you aren't strong enough to end this, we will find someone who will. Bruce Banner begins to scream as Venom flows over him, calling out for help. But Carnage lashes out, his tendrils piercing Bruce's chest. Well, that was anticlimactic. I don't know who that nerd is supposed to be. But he's cut off as a massive fist slams into his face, knocking him away, revealing the skull beneath the symbiote. I felt that! Who are you? The massive creature rises, one the size of the Hulk, but covered in a symbiote, letting out a blood-curdling roar. We are Hulk! Talk about cliffhangers, huh? Yep, that's the end of Absolute Carnage number 3. Symbiote Hulk is now in charge. The Absolute Carnage storyline overall has been great, but if you're not fully following it, check out our playlist down below. We're trying to bring you all of the side stories, like what happened to Miles Morales, where did Sleeper come from, what is going on with Dylan and Normie, what was Spider-Man doing, how is Deadpool involved? All of this is being answered in the tie-ins, and it is just overall an amazing full story, and you need to check it out. Also, if you want more of this storyline, make sure you subscribe because we're going to be bringing you the Hulk's thoughts on this whole thing next week. So you're going to get that part as a part of our coverage of Absolute Carnage. We appreciate each and every one of you guys who is supporting the channel by watching each and every one of these videos. You guys are awesome, and it's because of you that we're able to bring these videos to you. But don't forget, if you do want early access to a lot of our stuff that we create over here, you can subscribe to our Patreon or our YouTube memberships. For $2, you get early access to everything that we're doing. In general, thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time right here.